Hi, I'm Darlene. Welcome to my farm kitchen. On the third Saturday of every month, we host other farmers here to set up and sell their goods. We raise beef, pork, lamb, eggs, honeybees, all of that. But one thing we don't do any longer is raise pastured poultry. And we have a young couple who comes here and sets up, and I'm going to roast one of their birds today. It's just about 3 3/4 pounds. And I'm going to show you how we can have that for dinner in less than an hour. So one of the ways that I do the bird in less than an hour is I actually spatchcock the bird. So I'm going to remove the neck, and I'm going to turn the bird over so it's backside up. And I'm going to use my kitchen shears, and I'm going to cut down as close to the back as possible. And the kitchen shears really make that an easy task. I also like the fact that it doesn't dull my knife. So I have the back. We're going to remove this. Then what I like to do is turn it around so that the thickest part of the breast is facing me. And I'm going to take my knife, just one on one side of the breastbone, and I'm just going to crack that. And what that does is it allows me to lay the bird out flat. I'm going to dry it really good. This has quite a bit of fat, which I really like because that's going to add to the flavor. I'm going to actually layer potatoes on the bottom of my skillet, and then all of that beautiful fat will season my potatoes and cause them to have a nice crispy brown bottom. I'm going to wash my hands real quick. For this recipe, I'm going to use a cast iron skillet, and I'm going to start by adding a nice big dollop of lard, and I'm going to take it over to my stove top, and I'm just going to melt the lard. I don't want the pot to get extremely hot. And I'm going to take potatoes that I just dug a few minutes ago. They're all pretty much the same size. So I'm going to put them in there, flesh side up. I have room for one more. And I'm going to liberally season them with salt and pepper. I use a kosher salt, ground pepper, and what we're going to do is we're going to take and turn them over. I have some fresh oregano here that I'm actually just going to lay right over the potatoes, and I'm going to push them to the side. I have about 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to soften that in the microwave just enough to make a paste. I don't want the butter completely melted, but I do want it just soft. To that, I'm going to add just about a teaspoon of salt, about a half a teaspoon of pepper, and then I have some fresh herbs that I just picked out of the garden. I have parsley, some thyme, a little bit of rosemary. There's another sprig of oregano. I'll put that on the potatoes. And then I'm just going to take a couple of sage leaves. I don't want too much sage because it can be overpowering. I'm going to strip the thyme off of the stem. Parsley. I'm going to use just a little bit of rosemary. It can also be very strong, so I don't want it to be too much. If you like a lot of that, you certainly can add more. It smells so good, nice and fresh. going to add that to my butter. And I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to mix all of that together. I've done this with a roasted turkey also on Thanksgiving. It doesn't cook quite as quick, but it certainly does cook in less than half the time if you were going to roast the bird whole. So we're going to take our chicken. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers right between the flesh of the bird and the skin, trying not to rip the skin. One thing about a pastured bird is I think the skin is much thicker. Turn it around to the other side. What we're doing is making a cavity that we can put our butter mixture in. So I'm going to take the butter mixture, I'm going to tuck it up in there, especially under the breast, which can be a little more dry. Down in the leg. And then the nice big dollop under the other breast. Then what I do is when I have the little bit of herbs, I just rub it on the chicken. I think I'm actually going to take that piece of fat and put it right in the bottom of my pan. I've washed my hands well once again, putting a nice liberal coating of salt and pepper. So I have my pan with my potatoes flesh side down, covered with quite a bit of oregano. And I'm going to take my bird and I'm going to lay it right here. And I'm going to give his legs a little bit of a pull, tuck him in so it cooks nice and even. My oven's been preheating at 475 for just about 45 minutes. It's nice and hot, and we're going to go ahead and put this in. I'm guessing about 40 to 45 minutes. I've set the timer for about 40 minutes. We'll come in and check it. Poultry should be 165 to be safe. I do like to carry it a little hotter than that just so that the meat falls off the bone. Okay, it's been just about 40 minutes. We're going to take a peek at the chicken. It's really pretty. I have an instant read thermometer. I'm going to put it right in between the leg and the thigh. It's 185. Take that out of the oven. Once the chicken comes out of the oven, I'm going to let it rest, just kind of let it hang out. If you don't, when you cut into it, it will release all the juices and the chicken could be dry. I'm going to go ahead and move it to my cutting board. So I've removed my chicken and I'm letting it cool. I'm going to put the potatoes back in the oven at 475 still. There's quite a bit of oil in the bottom of the pan, and I'm going to let them roast for another 5 minutes. And I will show you how I cut up the whole chicken. So I lift up the leg, just take the knife, come through. There's one leg. Pull up the wing. That. Take the other wing. There's that. The leg. Just comes right off nice and pretty. With this, I'm going to take and cut it right down the breastbone. And we cut that breast earlier in the thickest part, so it will come apart pretty easy. And then what I'm going to do is, see that little bit of skin, I'm going to debone the chicken breast, debone the other chicken breast. We're slicing right down along the bone. Just feel where to go between there. Yum. When I serve this, what I will do is I will take the chicken breast and I'll just cut it on a bias. Okay, our potatoes are finished. Gorgeous. I'm going to use a little spatula just so I can make sure I get the crunchy bottom. Our potatoes are nice and brown. I have a few on my plate. The thigh is my favorite. You can have any side you want with that. I do want to show you a little piece of the breast. I have a little bit of sour cream, which I really like with my potato. With the chicken breast, you can see that. It's really nice and moist. The buttery herbs underneath of the skin add so much flavor. I really like a smaller bird. 3 3/4 pounds, no larger than 4 for me for roasting like this. If you do a larger bird, in order to get the thigh and the leg done, you can overcook the breast. It's yummy. And these beautiful golden potatoes. A little bit of sour cream. It's so good. The skin is so nice and crisp. I want a little piece of skin with every piece of meat if possible. My dogs are coming in, they hear the plate. I really do appreciate you watching the video, and I hope this helps you to be able to get a chicken in the oven and out of the oven within an hour and feed your family. If you'd like to try this recipe, I strongly encourage you to find a local farmer and support them if possible. That's what we're all about here. We raise our own meats and sell them to the public, and we do our best to support our fellow farmers. Pastured poultry is a winner for me, and I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks so much, and happy cooking.